Oh, man. Woo! It's getting wild out there. Godzilla. What's Godzilla? I'm sorry. I forgot to dub myself for my Eastern audience. Godzilla was like bull market, and it's going to be very bad as the bull dies. Japan is currently crashing down. All right, there it is. There you go, guys. My dub. Welcome to the Ace Report. What's going on, folks? What a show we got tonight. Holy smokes. Markets are getting frisky. Japan right now is cratering, and there's all kinds of other interesting stuff going on. So my friends, we got to talk about this, plus crazy stuff I've been seeing online, this whole RFK scandal. We got to cover that. Got to cover stuff people have been sending me that's pretty wild and makes you wonder. Anyways, we're going to cover all that, and just there's a lot to talk about. It's been too long, guys. I haven't seen you since Thursday. Lots been going on, so we'll catch you. Oh, and big, massive, huge G-Bucks news, which I'm really excited to talk about that as well. So anyways, welcome. Let's say hey to everybody, and then we will get rolling. Please hit the like and subscribe if you're new. I appreciate you being here. US1 in the house tonight. Gary Maydill, Chad Youngkin, Uncle Andy. What's up, man? Vinman, Gary Dush, Toe Cramp, Zach Butterfeld, ESK, Hero at Large, BN Pro, Donkey, Fro Girl, Vince. They do look red. Troy Man, what's going on? Boogie One. Oh, it's an interesting story. Patrice Smith. Kentucky getting blasted or what? What's going on? So now Barb Swallows, Brian T. Alan Krentz, Nazakor, buy SPY puts tomorrow. I can't tell you what to do. It depends on how confident you are this will hold up. I don't know what to think. I do know tariff day is Wednesday, and nobody's very excited about it. The one, what to do? Randy Albert, Brett Montgomery says this looks like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer fighting on the floor. I did. I started out with a classic. All right. Jack Hamilton is here. Ben Man heard a suffer, but a Mothra. Hey, it happens. Planksta. It's good to see you, man. It's been too long. Dave R. Ficus. NASDAQ futures down 1%. Oh, yeah. Guilty Gunner says there's been many Christian prophecies about stock market crash this year before Easter and Trump's first quarter. So that's the kind of the thing I'm seeing. It's very interesting. Fight the Fed says the same thing. So Stephen Karras, don't worry, buddy. There's gonna be juicy stuff. Come on, man. It's all part of the experience. Lock up. What's going on? So as we speak, let me get moving on here. As we speak right now, the Nikkei is down about almost 4%. It says breaking, Japan stock market is crashing. Trump can't do anything about it. And the reverse carry trade 2.0 could be underway, causing a global margin call for the stock market. And I wanted to share, I shared this in my Discord the other day. I shared it on X, but I thought this was pretty wild. So this is my own post. And in the last few days, I've had 4 people share this with me. So when 4 people share this with you, you start paying attention. Now, the first 2, I didn't know very well. So I was like, is this a bot? But let me just read these messages that have been sent to me here on YouTube. So this was the first one I got. It says, I was weeping in the spirit this morning. We're going to see the biggest stock market crash in history. It's all been prepared. I've been praying against this. The next few weeks are going to be extremely painful. They'll blame tariffs and Trump, and even Wall Street's going to get destroyed. Weird. Okay. We've been talking about how that could happen for sure. I do believe in this stuff. I believe people get dreams and visions of future events sometimes. The trick is knowing whether it's for real or not. Well, then I got another message that said this. Last call, we're about to see a great economic collapse. Had a vision. It's coming before Easter. God bless everyone here. Keep the faith. We'll come out stronger. Then I started thinking, well, that's weird. 2 in 1 week. Then I got a third one from somebody else. We're about to witness the biggest stock market crash in history, going to happen before Easter. God's warning his children. Last call. God bless my friends. That was kind of weird because of some of the similar language, but I've been around. I've seen weird stuff. Things happen. And then the last one I got said, "Thank you, sir. I had a prophetic dream about stock market crash happen week before Easter, but then there was already massive panic, people protesting in the streets. I believe this is coming to pass. Hope you continue to speak about it. We'll come out on top. It all needs to be reset." Now, I believe in all the words there about what needs to happen and what's probably going to happen. The question is, when? And before Easter is now what all these people wrote me. And listen, I'm not big on timing when it comes to this stuff, making predictions. So I'm just going to tell you right now before we go any further, because I don't want people freaking out or asking me this stuff. Do I believe in the timing here? I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, this could happen anytime. It could have already happened. It could happen in 6 months from now. I don't know. Okay. I'm looking at the data, and I'm also like my own gut feelings, my own beliefs about what's happening, all that. You guys know I don't need to backtrack. The last years, I've been believing that there's something coming, and it has to. It has to come. The question is when. Now, I just shared this because it was weird. 4 people wrote it to me. Okay, 4 people, 2 of them who I know, like they've been in the chat fairly regularly. They're not bots. I know that for certain. But the other 2, I was like, okay, well, whatever. But here's the deal. Again, it's not about timing, okay? Whether or not it happens before Easter is whatever. I have to share something when I see all that, because if it does happen and I don't say anything, if I don't share that, that's crazy. That's irresponsible, because it's like, what if? Okay. People make these things, all the predictions all the time. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're wrong. That's not the point. The point is when I get different people sending me the same thing, I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm going to share it. All right. Listen, I'm already prepared. I've done whatever I can do in case this stuff happens. I'm in meme stocks. I'm in the things I think will go up, at least at first, when this happens. Okay. When it breaks. But the question is like, what do you do with that information? You make the decision. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not telling anybody that's going to happen in the next 2-3 weeks. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I get information, I just share it. I'm sharing it because it's interesting. Now, I will say that last week was terrible. March was awful for the stock market. It was the worst month for the stock market since 2022. It's been really bad. And to this leading into Monday with the tariffs, it's getting worse. Here's Kobisi letter right now. Japan's stock market nearly 4% as investors prepare for Donald Trump's Liberation Day. I mean, the Nikkei is getting crushed. And as you guys know, many of you guys following the stock market stuff, you guys know we are greatly tied. We are greatly tied to the Japanese stock market. We are. We have like trillions of dollars tied up with them in the reverse carry trade, because they had reverse or negative interest rates, all that stuff. They didn't raise for 30 years. There was just all kinds of craziness in the Japanese economy, which is so people wanted to park their money there. Well, now that's starting to unwind. And as it unwinds, it's going to be very, very bad for our markets. It's going to crush them. Last year, we had one day, I believe it was the first day of August or something like that, first trading day of August. It was around that time where the Japan carry trade started unwinding because of a rate hike and the Nikkei crashing, and both the Dow and the NASDAQ crashed 1,000 points. So obviously, lots of crazy things happening. All right. And Michael Guyad shares here, every financial crisis in history is preceded by a surge of inflows into illiquid securities are not marked to market. Private credit is this cycle subprime. Japan's entire effing financial system is insolvent. You should be scared out of your effing mind. He's always very, very measured in his approach. But here's the deal. If you guys been watching the show, you're ready for something like this. We've been talking about it. A lot of us want this to happen because we know, not because we want people to suffer, not because we want hard things, not because we want people to lose jobs or their investments or anything like that. That's not what it's about. But it is about the fact that we have an absolute disaster of an economic system right now. And without a real collapse, it will never be reset. And so our best chance to get a real economy again, to get an economy that works for a middle class, that builds a thriving middle class, to bring back the American dream, which still exists, but it's much harder to accomplish than ever before. To bring all that back and really enter into a time of economic prosperity and bring the wealth gap, bridge it a little bit, stop being so spread out, which we want. And we don't want to accomplish it through government regulation and communism by taxing people out of their minds. That's not what we want. We want capitalism to do its job. And what's happened is crony capitalism has come in because they couldn't they were too afraid to go full socialist because they knew we'd all reject it. And so they've been slowly implementing corporatism and crony capitalism along the way, calling it capitalism still as we all get screwed. And it's saying, oh, look what capitalism is doing. It's crushing you. So that someday we'd all accept socialism. But that's not going to happen. We got Trump in now. And my belief is if this crashes on his watch, we get to rebuild a true American system again. So we want this. And look at this. I mean, you see stuff like this and you just know what a mess we're in. Says the real collapse isn't coming. It's already in the data. 46% of student loan borrowers who missed a payment now have scores under 620. 46%. It's a crap ton. Average job search now over 21 weeks, past the time of severance checks. FHA delinquencies are 11% officially, closer to 15% in practice. No job, no credit, housing on the brink. Q3, Q4 workforce projections are what keep me up at night. Everybody can see it who's reading the data. Okay. Now, again, it always comes down to the timing. What about the timing? There's people out there like David Hunter, who I greatly believe in and think he's a great economist. He's saying that we'll have a mini crash, then a massive melt up, and then the real crash later this year. I don't know if he's right. I don't know. It seems to me like with all the tariffs ups and downs and everything Trump's doing to throw volatility in the market, it seems to me that Trump is actually trying to crash the market. Because what does the stock market want above everything else? It wants guarantees. It wants to be able to trust and to plan. And because this is people's money for the future, and it's a lot of rich people's money for the future. So they want that. They don't like volatility in policy. And Trump, what does he keep doing? Tariffs on again, tariffs off again, tariffs, And so I really do think Trump is trying to push the gas on this. You see stuff like this. This is Chamath. Is definitely no slouch. Says, I learned that globally, the total stimulus injected in the economy during the past 4 years exceeded 16 trillion. All of this fake money needs to be shaken out of the economy for us to know where we're really at. Well, that's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough. That means pain. And we just can't get to where we want to go without pain. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So we have two choices. We can continue along the path we're on and just enjoy what are okay times for as long as possible to avoid pain. It's kind of like if you have gangrene and your foot, is rotting, but it's not rotting all the way yet. You can still run, you can still jump, there's just a little pain on it. But you know what? You just don't want to have surgery. You just don't want to do it because you don't want to be rehabbing. You don't want to be on your butt for 8 weeks and then rehabbing for another 8 months. You just don't want to do it. So you just say, you know what, I'll just keep going. But the truth is, if you got the surgery earlier, the pain would be less. It would be less recovery time. But if you let it break all the way and you just keep going, you might lose your whole foot. Well, and that's where we're going right now. We have this system that's such a disaster, but we can manipulate. We can keep it going for a little bit. We can keep blowing up this debt bubble. We can keep pushing. We can keep inflation just keep going up, but we'll all kind of get along a little bit until it really blows up. really, and just collapses, and we actually go into a massive depression. And it might not be something we ever recover from, because who knows who's in power. We might get, in 4 years, God forbid, we get some hardcore commie Democrat back, and it happens on their watch, and they use it as an opportunity to never waste a good crisis like Obama, and they completely destroy our Constitution, just like Kamala wanted to. This is what we face. And so it's better to do it on Trump's watch than somewhere else. And so, again, I think Trump is trying to push this. And here's a great breakdown of it, of the pain we need to go through a little bit. He says, if you think the stock market can stay positive while inflation comes down, you don't understand basic economics. If you want lower prices for gas, food, a major cut in government spending, and less immigration, you will have, all things considered, a lower stock market and home prices. Well, are we willing to give those up so we actually can live better lives? And this is going to be hard for the people who are doing really well. The people who are thriving off our fake economy, they're not going to like it. And you know what? They happen to be the really loud ones. They hate what Trump's doing. Every day on CNBC, you get another economist is, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Tariffs are going to cause massive inflation. This is going to break everything. This is terrible. Why? Because they know their money is going bye-bye. And you know what? Listen, I don't want anybody to lose money on purpose unless they got it wrongfully. But you know what? If you're a billionaire and you're going to lose 300 million in wealth because of asset depreciation that we have to go through in order to actually let everybody else go up, you're going to be just fine because you're a good investor. And that billion you made, you're going to turn that 700 million you now have into another billion eventually. It's just going to be a little bit tougher. But guess what? If the rest of America thrives, I'm okay with that. I'm not asking for you to be taxed more. I'm not asking for the government to take your money, but I want a system that works for all of us, not this crony capitalist system that only services people who have extreme means or got lucky because they bought a house for 90 grand in 2011 and it's now worth 500 grand and they've leveraged that into all kinds of stuff. It says it's a trade-off. Asset prices like stocks and homes inflate like everything else during Biden's term. It's how the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. A rebalance will have winners and losers. The goal is to have a rising tide lift all boats in Trump 2.0, not just the boats that own stocks and homes. And there it is. That's the only people who have been doing well the last few years. I'm okay with losing some paper wealth. My day-to-day cost of living goes down as well. Cut my taxes at the same time. We're good. Well, we know we're going to get the tax cuts. Trump's already got that running in the Republican House and Senate, but it's getting interesting. So will this be the week things really start? I mean, because it's a little ugly right now. It really is. I mean, Japan's actually kind of scary. If we're looking at the right here, we got the Nikkei down almost 4%, Nifty 50 down, well, not too bad, not even 0.5%, but 1.5% on the Asia 200. I mean, and then our pre-markets, Dow down 200 pre-market, S&P down almost a percentage, NASDAQ down 250. It's looking ugly, folks. It's looking ugly. But I mean, look at this too, though. Oil, we're going to get cheaper oil. Bonds are going down. That's something they also want the market to crash for so they can refinance the debt and save us money there. Crypto getting crushed. XRP about to hit just $2. I mean, this assets are just being drained everywhere. Bitcoin could go back under 80 grand again. It's all kind of just happening right now. Now, the question is does this last? We will know more after Wednesday. We'll know a lot more after Wednesday for right now. But this could be the beginning of something, or this could just be a blip this week. It could be a rough couple of days, could be a bad week. We don't know. But what I'm telling you is when the foundation is this rotten, it might not happen before Easter, but it's going to happen. And so make your decisions and make your plans, because at some point it's just not, we're on an unsustainable path. So just prepare yourselves. All right. I went on a long time. Let me catch up here a little bit in the chat before we go on to the next story. Susan Bird says global GDP terrible right now. It is, especially in countries not the U.S. That is very true. Paulion, those weren't. I don't know if those were profits. Those are just people sending me stuff. So I don't know about. I'm not following any profits for sure on this. Brandon Biggs, I don't remember who that is. Some profits are extremely accurate, some are not. But yeah, okay. Brandon Biggs, the guy who, I know who that guy is. He did get that Trump prophecy right, but he's also been wrong about several other things. So you just got to be careful. You got to look at their track records. Brett says, Kamala, if you're watching, the tariffs are not going to affect the price of Francia. It'll go down. You'll get that cheap box wine even cheaper. That's how it works. So get those low down stuff better. Oh, Thomas, my God, your cancer came back, brother. All right, Tom, we got to get the prayer chain going for you again, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. How's it? How advanced is it? Ficus says, pretty wild. 4 people all said the same thing independently. I agree with you. And so what I'm thinking is either I could see 3 things happening. One, they all got that independently, and we're off to the races here soon. 2, they are all listening to people saying that, and so they're kind of hearing it themselves, and it's being influenced by that, and something will eventually happen, but it might not happen before Easter. And then 3, everybody's just playing a big joke on me. So that's kind of how I see it working. Kit Kittredge says, crashes take months. We're in the top of the first. Engineer the softest. Hard landing is a turbulence. Wave 2, 3 in a downtrend. I play leverage, ETS, bull, and bear. Well, there you go. Yeah, I guess we'll see how it happens. Crashes do take months. I think there's an argument to be made that this crash has been taking years, since I think it really started in 2022, and then they faked everything. Or you could argue it started in 2008, because we've never seen the end of that one either. So yeah, I agree with you. The question is, when does the big hit come? That's really what it is. Let's see. Kid again, 3 months treasury is eerily similar to early 2008. The crash took until March 09 for capitulation. There you go. Yeah. But it really accelerated in the fall of 08, correct, Kit? Am I right about that? I think I am. All right. Let's see. Who else real quick? Randy says Black Monday in 87 was a 22% drop for a total of 30% down over 3 trading days. I watched it happen with dread and awe. And that's what it's going to be like this time too. I do think we're going to have a couple times like dread and awe. I really do. At least a few days like that when all this goes down. Ficus says, would not be surprised if Trump was trying to bring things down and get the recession, because Bissett needs to refi 60% of our $37 trillion in debt soon. Exactly right. Yep. So, Thomas, I'm reading your comments, man. I'm so sorry. I can't wait. We need to talk more. And so I'll see how we can help you. Sorry about that, man. That's sucky news. I've missed you in the chat. Is that why you haven't been on much lately? Because the cancer came back? Guys, take a moment, just say a prayer for Thomas, because he's dealing with this cancer again. And so as a community, we just want to believe he can get full healing at last. Randy says, quote from JP Morgan, in bear market, stocks return to their rightful owners. Oh, that's an interesting one. Anything can squeeze before June, Nick. Kryptonian, previous administration propped it up so it would fall on this administration's head. I completely agree with you. Yeah. Rosie, I'm not going to read your prophecy. You can prophesy all you want. This is my chat. Love it. Am I getting notification to make my voice fade? That's weird. Kid says a market labor report, consumption, wage along with tariffs news takes center stage this week. Exactly. It's going to be very interesting. All right. Okay. So you guys can see, I've shown you, we'll see what happens. We'll see how fast this all goes down. Okay. The question is when. In my opinion, it's not if. And I think I've shown you guys enough to prove that unless there's a crazy miracle that we just cannot foresee, this is an if crash, not a when, not sorry, not a it I'm sorry. It's a when crash, not an if. I got that mixed up. That's what happened right there. Sorry, when you talk fast, you cover a lot of stuff. That happens sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna shift gears now. And we gotta talk about this big old thing that happened on X that was just a big, crazy nothing burger, but it's important because of what it says about where we're at right now in the whole PsyOp news world. So Ian Carroll, who I actually like Ian a lot, and it sucks that he's been going down this road that's getting him to places I don't like, because he's becoming less and less trustworthy, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's being pushed into stuff that is not smart, or if he is just listening to the wrong people. I don't know. But so the other day, Ian Carroll came out and said, American politics is not going to be the same after this weekend. Candace Owens came out about this big expose on all the stuff that's going to come out on RFK Jr. and how he's controlled by Israel. And then nothing happened. So without a shred of evidence to support his claim, baseless speculation, clickbait hype. And here's his little bit a clip of what he's saying. I'm not going to play it right now, but the point is they predicted that this massive RFK story was about to break, a massive sex scandal with a sex tape and all this stuff and all these other things. And they were making accusations that, can we trust RFK? He's been infiltrated. Israel's controlling him. And we all heard it was going to drop this weekend. And then nothing came out at all. And so it's really starting to beg the question, like, what's really going on? Why are all these guys starting to go down this road? And even Alex Jones weighed in on this. I think Alex has had Ian on his show a couple times, but Alex says RFK is a major target of the deep state. So far, this blackmail scandal is nothing but hot air. And he wrote the other day and did a video that's 7 minutes, so I'm not going to play it. But he says there's no proof RFK Jr. is being blackmailed. He could be potentially, but so far no solid facts have been shown. Bill Gates, other certified globalist death cult leaders hate his guts. So my question is simple. Do folks attacking him really want his important work exposing big pharma and big food stopped? That is the question. Now this week, we could see that they started their attacks on the Trump administration. It all broke and started big time with this Signal chat. They use that to, which, there's some credibility to the fact that, like, should they be using it? But ultimately it wasn't that huge of a deal, not nearly as big as the administration, or not the administration, as the media made it and the left made it. But they used it to go from Mike Waltz made a mistake and maybe he should be fired to let's get rid of Pete Hegseth. And they really doubled down on pushing that narrative. Let's get Hegseth out. So that's the Secretary of Defense. That's a big attack. And then just a couple days later, we have this massive PsyOp that turns out to be nothing, but starts getting everybody questioning RFK Jr. coming into the weekend. Now, is that coincidence? I think not. In 1 week, two of Trump's main cabinet people, the people he pushed the hardest for, the people who are two of the people most dangerous to the deep state, the establishment, the bureaucracy, all that money, the Pentagon and our health institutions, the big pharma, the two people most threatening them all of a sudden are attacked on the same week. That, my friends, you can't believe in coincidences anymore. Not when it involves the Trump administration who's breaking all this down. RFK announced this week they're changing the vaccine schedule. Big pharma doesn't like that. He fired one of the FDA's main pharma guys. Main vaccine guys. This is going to break them up. They announced that they're going to try to ban pharmaceutical ads on television. That is scaring the snot out of these people. It is scaring the snot out of them. And so, of course, we get this. Now, the concerning thing is that it's people like Ian Carroll, who's just been majorly platformed by Joe Rogan of all people, been on Alex Jones' show, seemed like a great guy, got into our community by talking about Wall Street, the SEC, and naked short selling GameStop. Started out as a great guy. And now all of a sudden he's peddling all this stuff. He peddled the Israel thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. And now this, it's kind of concerning. And Candace Owens as well. And so again, these are people I want to believe in and trust. But when you keep messing up, I don't know, it starts to get a little funny. Here's another post on Ian real quick. Says, I really don't want to bring in more attention to this nonsense than there already is. We can't let Ian Carroll and Candace Owens keep getting away with this bullshit. I agree. Carroll released another 10-minute video of word salad, backtracking the insane stuff he said yesterday, acting like he did wasn't completely out of line. He admits he had zero evidence. Why would you admit that? Why even make the video in the first place? This is, in my opinion, this is Carroll knowing that nothing happened. It backfired on him. And so now he's just trying to stay in everybody's good graces by coming across as the nice guy who I made a mistake. Maybe it's true, but still very weird. Still making a big deal about an old rehash smear campaign that happened last year and somehow tying that into Jews controlling RFK Jr.'s policy decision. That is where this whole Jew thing, guy, is just becoming a big problem. And it's becoming such a big problem that other like major people are starting to weigh in on it. Here is Roseanne Barr of all people, who, if you guys have listened to Roseanne lately, she's been on fire. And she is in Hollywood. She is a Jew. She's very anti-deep state, very anti all the elites, the trafficking, all that. She's all about getting rid of all of it. She's calling it out. She loves Trump. I think she knows stuff. She's been behind the scenes. She's been in the darkness. And she writes this today. Remember the Trilateral Commission, Bohemian Grove, Freemasons, Templars, Illuminati? That used to be a thing before internet influencers replaced everything with the Jews because their engagement went up. I do think we're starting to see something like that, guys. If you haven't noticed this during deep dives and noticing you're not smart enough to discuss world powers at all, you can critique Israel all day. That's fine, which that is the right statement. We should be critiquing Israel, but it's gotten so crazy we can't even give it the right story anymore. That becomes your boogeyman for literally everything. You're basically and frankly an embarrassment. And that is exactly true, guys. That is exactly true. And I want to say right now, if you're listening to people like Nick Fuentes or Stu Peters, they are idiots. They're horrific people. They are just smearing, like, everything is Jews to them. It's terrible and it's stupid and it's harmful. Ian and Candace, I want to believe better for, but they're starting to go down that route too. And it's starting to worry me about them. Again, this is not a channel that says everything Israel does is great. No, I don't believe in that either. I don't believe in the very normal thing in America for a lot of people, even in the Christian evangelical space, which I've been a part of. They don't criticize Israel for anything. They think Israel is so God ordained that they can basically do anything and it's always God's with them. No, that's wrong too. But we can't have that conversation when this is going on. And this is an attack, guys. This is trying to break up MAGA. It is. It's an inside PsyOp, this whole Jew thing. And they're using real stuff like the genocide that's going on in Gaza. That's terrible. That should not be happening. At least not the way it's happening. Israel's making major mistakes. Innocent people are dying. It's terrible. And what happened to Israel was horrific too. They should go in with special ops or whatever and just take out all Hamas. I'd be 100% for that. Kill all of them. But these massive bombings, this stuff that's affecting innocents is wrong. It just is. But it's almost impossible to talk about that, have a nuanced, real conversation when everything is just The Jews now are evil. And I believe this is a psyop trying to infiltrate. It's like, it's gotten so insane. JD Vance is controlled by Jews. Trump's controlled by Jews. Anybody who says that, guys, is a moron. I'm sorry. It's one of the stupidest things anybody can say. Okay. It's getting so ridiculous. Here's another great post on it just to kind of expose it. I really like PD here. He's a businessman, well known, and he's in the community of all this stuff. And he says, as soon as he posted his thoughts about Ian, the trolls came on and started calling him Jewish, even though he's fully Greek, calling him a paid Israel shill. Like, this is how you know this is not real. Okay, the bots are going after people just for having a disagreement. And that's guys, that's what the leftists do. That's what the leftists do. This is a psyop coming from the right that's trying to destroy our movement, because if we become the party of anti-Semitism, if we embrace that and we go down this road and it gets fully embraced, it will start falling apart. There'll be too many people who leave. It'll split. The Christian right will never accept that. So they'll leave and it'll split MAGA. And that's what they're trying to do right now. That's why I believe these stories are coming out. I like this. The real story, there's a war happening online. This is how the bot armies work. Discredit, distort, distract. It's a digital war zone out here and most people are asleep. Wake up. You're not debating people anymore. You're fighting algorithms, funded narratives, and cowards hiding behind screens. You want truth? You better grow thick skin, sharpen your sword, which is your critical thinking skills. People are being purchased not by cash being delivered, but by likes, comments, and reposts. It's true, guys. This whole thing. It's a distraction. It is. It's trying to push so much. So now what? Writes it right now. Funny thing. There's crickets when 70 Christians are beheaded, which just happened 2 weeks ago. That alone tells you this Jew crisis is a distraction. 100%. It's just one of these things. Uncle Andy writes, I think it's the Jews pushing these fake stories to distract from what they're really doing. Dude, it's that's the kind of talk that's just not going to help anything. Listen, does Israel do terrible things? Yes. Is Israel intelligence involved in crazy things? Yes. Is our CIA the same? Yes. But to think that they are the ones behind it all, no. They are being controlled by the people behind it all. There are bigger forces at work here. They are the ones using the CIA. They're the ones using Mossad. They're the ones using all this stuff, MI6, to get done what they want to do. People with lots of money, lots of power, the people we don't see most of the time, they're the ones doing all this. And just focusing on one, if everything was always the CIA no matter what, that's a lie. Anytime somebody blames everybody for the same thing all the time, it's just not true. It's an op, and it can ruin movements. It's not going to ruin ours. And here's where they underestimate MAGA. Excuse me. They underestimate us because they don't realize how good we are at research, how good we are at sifting through narratives. You guys understand that I talked about this the other day. MAGA is now the biggest ideological bloc in America. 36% of Americans identify as MAGA. That is massive. That is massive. It's bigger than any other political ideology in America. How did it keep growing? Ask yourself how, when Trump was attacked in so many ways, it would have destroyed any other movement in history except for these people, the MAGA people, are awake. And obviously we could get examples of some dumb MAGA person who's just an idiot, wearing a MAGA hat. The liberals love that stuff. They post it all the time to make us look like hicks, but that's not what's happening. Dumb hicks don't survive the massive PsyOp. The biggest PsyOps in history have been perpetrated upon our movement since 2017, when Donald Trump came into office or ran and got into office. We survived the Russia hoax, one of the biggest PsyOps of all time, to try to destroy him. We survived that. We survived the COVID hoax, got stronger through it. when they lied to us about where it came from, how deadly it was, tried to get us all vaxxed, all that stuff, we survived it and got stronger. We survived the attacks on Trump's character during the trials. They're trying to paint him as a rapist. They're trying to paint him as a crook. Survived all of it. And what happened? The movement gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It's because it's a movement that's also coupled with a political awakening. And that you cannot defeat with PsyOps that are weak with nothing behind them. Used to be they could do that. But they can no longer get away with it. And it's driving them insane. But now, and one of the reasons I do what I do is to call this stuff out. And one of the things, it sucks because I want to be able to trust more people out there. I want to know somebody who does amazing work like Candace Owens is not falling for this nonsense or not being controlled. But when stuff happens like this weekend, it makes you wonder. I love Ian Carroll's first stuff forever. He did so awesome. His stuff was so good. I wanted a guy like that to succeed. And we need more truth tellers out there. And now he's falling for this stuff. And is he falling for it or is he just a setup? It is weird how fast he became popular. I've shown you guys how so many influencers are really just propped up by money behind them. I've proven it to you. And yet I don't always want that to be true. There are some who rise to the top organically. And I want Ian to be one of those. But after this weekend, it makes you wonder. Is he really a good guy? And that sucks because we want to have people we can trust. But I tell you what, when people are inconsistent and when people make massive mistakes like this, and it happens more than once, or when they start blaming one people or one nation or one organization for everything, those are massive red flags. Massive. And we are not going to fall for the op itself, but losing the people along the way, that's the hardest part because it's always going to be, and as long as we keep doing this, there's going to be people who are doing this stuff that are people we liked and wanted to like, and they fail us and they end up being on the other team. Here's another one. This is a great post by this Chanel Ryan from OAN. Keep in mind, the CIA has had their hand in making Hollywood stars for influence operations, turning mediocre talent into overnight sensations. They cultivate conservative influencers too. And that's one of the hardest parts. Look what's happening to the Daily Wire right now. I started exposing the Daily Wire months ago, and now their guy stepped down, their CEO, and now they just hired a bankruptcy lawyer and they're firing several employees. The Daily Wire is collapsing. It's collapsing because it was never real. All that stuff they were doing, it wasn't organic. It wasn't really built up. That was establishment, Republican money, pushing them up to make the Daily Wire seem much bigger than it actually was, to turn those guys into stars. And yes, Jordan Peterson had some of his own work to get there. Don't get me wrong. Matt Walsh at this, Ben Shapiro obviously was around before the Daily Wire. That's not my point. My point is them as an organization coming together, they all got elevated up a little bit from where they already were. But the Daily Wire itself, all that power, all that conservative thought, trying to create a new studio with movies and stuff, some of them good. The problem is that it wasn't real. And they were using it. Why do you think Ben Shapiro, who most of the time is really good on, I agree with him almost on everything, on his conservative values, his economics, all that stuff. But then he comes out and like really pushes the vaccine, like really pushes it. Says you're an idiot if you don't take it. Or he comes out and he jumps on Trump the first sign he can, goes all in on DeSantis. I mean, there's a couple other examples as well. Fact is like Ben has admitted like he's Jewish first, and that's okay for him. but it's not okay if you want to say you're a conservative fighting for America first. That doesn't work. And that's how we see these things, guys. Okay. So, I mean, I got to call it out. Chanel is a rock star. Uh, have her on for a collab. God, she's way too big to come on my show. She's a reporter for OAN. I don't know. Maybe that'd be awesome if she'd ever come on for a show. That'd be great. All right, let me catch up with some of your comments. Actually, no, I'm sorry. There's one more thing I want to show, and then we got a couple smaller stories we'll end on. Okay, last thing. This is by something from Alex Jones here, and this has exactly what to do with the Israel stuff. It says the Israel session got out of hand, consumed many of you to the point of derangement, causing many to see things are not there, miss things far more pressing. Trump and Elon just purged US aid, are moving on to their next target, CIA. Trump is currently trying to negotiate end to our proxy war with Russia before it escalates to World War III. Yet some of you are only concerned about the Jews all day, every day. And
Israel, personally, I don't.
I'll let Alex say it real quick.
Me personally, I don't like the whole Palestinian thing and Iran and Hezbollah, and also don't like the stuff Israel's doing. Israel clearly stood down on October 7th. You know me, I don't think that's the biggest problem in the world. I spent some of my time on it, but millions dead in Ukraine, Europe, the UK, and France openly sending troops now to fight Russia, and Putin saying it'll be a bloodbath. We're ready for total war. That's getting about 1% of the coverage of just this total Israel obsession. So from my perspective, I'm just so sick of being on air 30 years and people always being obsessed with Israel, the Christian Zionists that just worship it and think it can do no wrong, no matter who's in charge there. The other side that just thinks everything's run by Jews. I'm just freaking tired of it, okay? I get attacked by the Israel lobby. I get attacked by the Nazis. I just can't stand any of it. Me
I just got to say it. You guys watch my show. I feel like Alex is stealing my stuff right here. I want to think Alex is stealing my stuff right here. I don't get to say that very much because Alex is usually first to most things. But you guys know, you've been watching. Who's been first to this? Who's been first to this? What Alex just said exactly. Who said it first? Right here. This guy. I've been doing this Israel bit for weeks now. And so I just love to say that I was ahead of Alex Jones for once. He's starting to sound like me on the Israel stuff. It's getting out of hand. It's insane. It's making people stupid. And the fact it continues is proof it's a PsyOp. And so any influencer that's nonstop peddling it, I think it's time to cut them loose. I really do. If it's nonstop, I'm going to give Ian a pass for a little while because it hasn't been nonstop with him yet. I'm going to give Candace a pass, but there's ones that I'm done. Nick Fuentes, I never liked him. Stu Peters, I'm done. There's a few others I can't think of off the top of my head right now, but I'm just done. When Ryan Dawson, I'm done. If it's Israel all the time, I'm just done. There's no call for that. It's just insane. It's just insane. All right, let me catch up with the chat here. I got a couple things to go before the end. Let's see here. So now it says, if there are people running America, there are people running the world. I'd say less today than a year ago. Absolutely. Absolutely true. We're getting more independence again. We are. Alan says, that was the same thing that happened in the Tea Party. Which part, Alan? Can you be more specific? Do you mean about the tearing apart? I would agree with you on that. Let's see. Dems have been sniffing way too many Sharpies. Wow, that's never changed. What did Ham mean he was going to have a victory party in June? We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk. I'm going to end on that. Okay, I'm going to end on the massive G-Bucks news. That's huge, and then we'll talk about what that could mean if that starts spiraling out. We're only at 79 likes. Come on, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, help out the channel. YouTube does not like me because I say the true things. They don't like me. So if you guys could like and subscribe, they'll help. And if you're on Rumble, please do the same. Follow if you haven't followed before. I greatly appreciate it. Like the video. I would love to grow so much on Rumble that I no longer have to use YouTube or make YouTube my main platform. So that would be awesome if we could do that. So, but it takes your likes and subscribes. It really does. Your likes and subscribes help me get there. And then also the channel support. If you want to support the channel, get in on members lives and Discord. You hit that join button. It's only $3 a month. You get members lives on Wednesday, and you access to the Discord immediately. So now what says it's a good sign the Uniparty is fighting hard to stay afloat. Yeah, it means they're desperate. They know they're not in control anymore. They are in really big problem. They have massive problems right now. So Hero says, I said first Alex's voice. Yeah. So the Israel thing, I've just been telling you guys for weeks now. I've been telling you for weeks. It's just too far. It's gone crazy. These people are going crazy. You know, I first noticed it the other day on the Israel thing. So I did a whole video on it a couple weeks ago. So you guys just know, like, I've been trying to tell you. You can't go too far you can't go too far Israel one way or the other. It's crazy. There's too much going on. Whew. Yeah. That hurts my voice to do Alex's voice. That's not easy. 85 likes is rookie numbers. I know we'll do better. I know we can do better. Alan says the tearing apart, you were part of it in Western Nebraska. Really? I would love to hear your story on that. Alan, maybe sometime you should come on and tell us that story, because what happened at Tea Party could be a good lesson for all of us. It really could. So I would enjoy that. All right. A couple other things, and then we gotta do G-Bucks here. Danny says, this is interesting. Do I think the Jewish Pharisees that cursed Jesus are in control of Al-Aqsa Mosque, ready to turn in one world order church? Danny, I don't even know where to start with that one. Sorry, I really don't. That's a wild question, and I would have to seriously consider all the implications of what you mean by that in order to give you a real answer. I'll just say I've never made that connection. Adam C. Speaking makes you smile. Well, thank you for that. Pika says, Alex, I said, Alex, you don't sound like you. I sure sound like him. If I keep speaking this much, if I'm still doing this in 20 years, like Alex is, my voice might sound like his. It might, when you talk a lot, it does take a lot on the voice. Thank you, Sanoa. We'll get out Bush League. 94 likes. We can pass 100 real soon. Okay, let's keep moving here. All right, a couple other things here. This is really interesting what's heating up with Zelensky and Putin this weekend. This is something to watch. So Trump said today, Zelensky had a video the other day that was not promising. He basically was trying to back out of the minerals deal, and also what was the other thing he did? He said he would not accept the U.S. money as a loan, even though he's doing it with Europe. In other words, to pay us back. So that's messed up. But there's something going on, and I think the Europeans are getting to Zelensky to tell him to ramp things up. Did you guys see that Putin had one of his limos blown up 2 days after Zelensky said Putin might not be with us much longer? So that's no good. That is no good. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that ramp up, because it's going to make us have to make very tough choices if Ukraine goes rogue. So we got to see what happens there. But Trump today, Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. If he does that, he's got some problems. So Trump's obviously not happy about it. But at the same time, Trump's also not happy about what's coming out with some Putin stuff. So President Trump said on his phone call the other day, he's pissed off at Putin over remarks he made about Zelensky's credibility. If peace talks fall apart and he thinks Putin's at fault, Trump will impose sanctions on Russian oil. Trump said if a nuclear deal is not reached with Iran, there will be bombing. It'll be bombing the likes of which they've never seen before. Guys, we don't want this, okay? This is the kind of stuff that makes... this is World War III type stuff. Let's be honest. If Russia and Ukraine can't figure it out, and we back off on the Ukraine and put sanctions on Russia, that keeps Europe embroiled in war. And we cannot support Ukraine anymore. We cannot. We also can't join Russia. That would be crazy. So that's a rock and a hard place negotiating that if Ukraine goes rogue. We can stay out of it, but then there's always a chance that Ukraine and Russia push to the point that something nuclear happens. We don't want that. On the Iran thing as well, Biden allowed it to get to the point where Iran is very close to having nuclear weapons. That is not okay. These people are crazy who run that government. The people themselves want to be westernized, but the government over there is insane. And if they hold nuclear weapons, it's not good. So, and also getting involved in an Iran situation is not good either. And by the way, I hate to say this, okay? I hate to say this, but this is one of the reasons we cannot ruin our relationship with Israel either, because Israel will be the point of the spear for knocking out Iran's nuclear stuff. And I don't want to be policeman of the world anymore. I do not want to. There are certain things I think we still have to do stuff. And I think the Iran situation is one of them. One of the few, I should say. But we don't want to go there. We do not want that to happen. So we need to be praying. There are many opportunities for peace, that the peace that we were so close just a few weeks ago starts manifesting again, because right now it's starting to look like war is rising up everywhere again. And I don't think Trump wants to get involved in any of it, but some things are going to be hard to avoid. So this is an area where we really need to pray, because this is all getting ugly, and we don't want to do that. We hit 100 likes finally. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Roger says, please reach out to Chanel Rion. I asked her to help out some minor MAGA channels that are the news now. You asked her to do a show. You did. Do you know her? That'd be great. Danny wants to talk. Sometime, Danny, we'll have to figure out. The best place to talk to me is get in the Discord or hit me up on X. Don Clay says there's been prophecies about Iran bombings too. Yeah, there have been, but there's been those. I've heard those going back decades. And there have already been bombings. I mean, Israel took out their nuclear facilities not that long ago, a few years ago. Hero says NBC said Trump called them about Putin. Show the video or it didn't happen. That's a good point. I've heard this from multiple sources, so I'm pretty sure it's true. But you're right. I'll double check. But it is Praying Medic who shared this, and Praying Medic is an excellent researcher. So if he shares it, I consider it pretty much good as gold. So now I heard there's going to be a near-death experience for America. Relax, have plenty of popcorn. Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of popcorn. Randy, God is in control. I agree with you to a point. God is in control so long as his people step up. God does not control everything in every world. Otherwise, there would be no free will. Now, I know if those Calvinists out there don't believe in that, so that's okay. But I don't believe in Calvinism to that extent. I do believe we have free will. And I do believe God is in control when his people step up, and then he works through us. And then he does things to help along the way. Don't get me wrong, but prayer is necessary. Things don't happen without prayer and action by his people. And so we gotta do our part, and then God will partner with us and do the rest. Kristen Welker needs to get her own show on TikTok, Meet the Media Skank. Yeah, Kristen Welker, not so great. Okay, guys, let's talk about something exciting. All right, you guys ready for something a little better news? All right, if you're in G-Bucks, you heard me several times last week say, I think some big news is coming. Well, the big news finally came. The rumors were true. G-Bucks got $212 million strategic investment into them. This is huge. And the best part is it's not dilutive at all. No dilution. So that means since this whole G-Bucks thing started, I think I first started talking about 6 weeks ago. Since G-Bucks started, this little company has now received 100 million and now 212 million in investment for its growth without diluting its stock. So last week was a good week for G-Bucks. I think this week could be a monstrous week for G-Bucks. They now have 300 million to work with. This, I believe, the structure of this deal means this 212 is available for them at any point they need it, and they can just keep using it whenever. They just go to the well and pull from it whenever they need it. And it says right here, this is from the company itself, transaction designed to be completed through non-dilutive structure to protect and enhance long-term shareholder value. Friends, if they're thinking like this already, now they already got the money. This means I think we can also trust that company will not dilute in the future either. So if Ham's right about this short in this, and I honestly don't have any reason to think he's not, we could see something special happen here soon. So that's extremely exciting news. Extremely exciting. That's a massive 212 million. I mean, nothing to sneeze at when you're a small company trying to get moving. So very excited about that. And yeah, so on that note, guys, I'm excited for tomorrow. I think the markets are going to be red, but I think G-Bucks is going to be well green. And somebody asked earlier, why does Ham say we could be partying in June? Well, guys, if G-Bucks blows up, okay, or Finger, Fingers have been pretty good the last couple of weeks. It keeps showing like it wants to do something, and I do think that's the shorts are starting to show weakness there. But let's, if G-Bucks takes off, a bunch of money goes into Finger still pops off. The market's getting weaker, so the shorties ability, I can't even speak. The shorters ability to keep things down starts weakening. Margin calls start coming. Guys, we could start seeing some blast stuff here really soon. So I think it's a very exciting time to start getting in, to start getting excited about these investments we've been watching for so long now. Butter says, sounds like they're investing the money in some kind of real estate ETF or something. They're retiring some of the shares they're purchasing too. So that's even better. Retiring. G-Bucks, no warrants. It's on, says Brett. Love it. Paulion says, G-Bucks up, Finger probably down. Maybe. We'll see. Finger might have just had a correction needed to fill a gap on Friday. So we'll see what happens. Finger also could just move with the market tomorrow. And the market, by the looks of it, is not going to be pretty. It might not be pretty for the next couple of days until everybody knows what's going on with the tariffs. So just be ready for that. All right. Before I go, Roger, I don't know what the targets are for a G-Bucks short squeeze. I don't. I think Ham said, for him, it's like 30 to 50. So, maybe it goes higher now with all this money. Who knows? But all right, before I get off tonight, I just have a quick PSA because, this kind of stuff's important and we need to spread it. So I want you guys to watch this and we'll talk about it.
Most people don't think about the R word as hate speech. That's exactly what it feels like for millions of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, their family, and their friends.
While the R word used to be a medical term, it became an insult to demean those with intellectual disabilities.
70% of all social media posts about intellectual disabilities are negative, and 60% of those use the R word.
200 million people with intellectual disabilities are marginalized.
Bunch of retards that came out with a stupid commercial. It's just hilarious. I just want you guys to know I will never judge you if you use the word retard because it's hilarious. It's hilarious. If we all use it in the right situations, it's hilarious. And as a 90s kid, yep, we're bringing it back, guys. We're bringing it back. So I just wanted to show you that retarded commercial because it made me laugh. All right. Anyways, on that, the small school bus is wonderful. You can go on it, Brett. We fill it up real fast. All right, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching the show. Please like, subscribe, join if you want to support the channel. $3 a month, to be a member, get members lives, get in the Discord. Obviously I go through the news every night, but we also we try to have a lot of fun, try to keep it upbeat and positive, and just say it like it is. So I appreciate all you guys. If you do want to hit me up, my email's in the description below, or find me on X, follow me there. You can DM me. Or jump into the Discord as a member. Yes, we need to pray for original Planksta and also Thomas and anybody else. So I'm going to end in a prayer as always. So country computers put in a bunch of retards. Exactly. Alan says, this sounds crazy. I had a dream where silver went to over 1,000 an ounce. I don't think that's crazy. It's very possible. It's very possible. So yeah, you never go full retard. So long. I had no idea that this was going to inspire so many of you to just blast the chat with all these comments. Thank you. Bunch of retards out there. No, I mean that in the best way possible. Country says, I got on the short bus. So it was a great place to pick up chicks. Realized it was a place. Realized I was a retard. Get on the bus. Oh man, that's funny. Not ice cream. That's right. Neither do long white vans with no windows and doors. They don't have ice cream either. Just a PSA there. Did I see their video where DJ reported for work? No. You'll have to share that with me, and maybe I'll play it tomorrow. All right, guys. All right, Danny, we'll have to talk about that another time, man. Yes. So, okay, let's end in a prayer and call it a night. And I obviously offended a bunch of people because the chat just went down 25 folks. Okay, that's fine. You can't handle it. That's all right. Anyways, all right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless this amazing group of people here, Lord. And Father, tonight, I want to lift up Thomas, God, for his cancer coming back. We just all pray, God, that this, he had such good news a couple months ago, and that's just terrible. That's come back so quickly. So we just, God, we pray against that. We pray that it really would go away with his fight. He would win this fight and get a more permanent solution. And Lord, we pray for Planksta and his family, God, that whatever's going on there, that they just get peace and everything is, everything's figured out to a place where everybody can just find joy in that family again and connection. And whatever else they need, Lord, is just provided for them. We pray for our country, that you keep us on the right track, and we just keep winning. Pray that, Lord, you would just awaken more and more people to what's really going on so they can see through the nonsense in the media and on social media and sort through the lies. I pray that more people would become exposed. You would expose those who need to be exposed and lift up those who can be trusted, Lord. So we thank you for what you've done so far. Pray for our leadership. You protect them, watch over them, give them wisdom, and pray for everybody in this chat, Lord, that whatever happens in the next few months with the market and the economy, that you lead us all to make wise decisions so that we can come out of it more prosperous than ever, and our country as well moving forward, so our families can thrive together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. God bless you guys. You are the best. I appreciate y'all. Have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take it easy. See ya.